You think of space as absolute freedom. The great three-dimensional dark. A place where you can move in any direction you choose. But you have never lived in that openness. You were born on a flat disk. In the entire history of human spaceflight, across every probe, every lander, and every machine we have ever fired into the void, we have only ever traveled in one direction. Sideways. Space has no floor and no ceiling. Every direction is equally open. Yet, we are trapped on a flat sheet, sliding endlessly across a table we cannot escape. You think of up as simply looking at the sky. But that is just away from the ground. There is a true, absolute vertical. A direction straight up and out of the flat plane that holds the sun and the planets. An entire dimension of the universe is hovering directly over your head, and we are almost entirely powerless to reach it. There is no physical barrier blocking the way. We are simply pinned to a violent, invisible wheel. In all of our history, we have only truly managed to wrench ourselves off of it once. And we couldn't do it alone. We had to hurl ourselves at a giant and let it throw us. Let's begin. Look at a map of the solar system. We are taught to view it from the top down. A giant bullseye with the sun in the center and the planets tracing neat, concentric circles around it. It looks like a vast, open territory. Now, turn the map sideways. Look at it edge on. The openness vanishes. The planets do not orbit at wild, random angles. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, the gas giants, the asteroid belt. They are all locked into almost the exact same invisible, level surface, like grooves carved into a vinyl record. The most powerful structure in our corner of space is laid out flat, like a plate, and humanity is stuck on the rim. When we launch a rocket, we like to say we are piercing the heavens. We say we are leaving the cradle, but we aren't. When we fly to Mars or Jupiter or Saturn, we do not aim up and out into the void. We just slide sideways across the plate. Even our greatest escapes stayed flat. The Voyager probes are the farthest human objects in existence. They are billions of miles away, drifting in the interstellar dark. But they did not reach the deep void by flying up. They just slid sideways until they ran off the edge of the table. We are a sideways species. We evolved on a hostage planet, locked in a flat groove. And when we finally left it, we left along the only road the groove allowed. There is a reason up is so nearly impossible. You are not sitting still. Right now, the Earth is racing around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. It has been your whole life, carrying you sideways along the flat plane of the solar system at a speed you cannot feel. That speed is not just a number. It is a shackle. When we launch a spacecraft, it does not get to choose a fresh direction from a standing start. It inherits all of Earth's violent motion. The instant a probe leaves the launch pad, it is already moving 67,000 miles an hour sideways. To reach the other planets, that inheritance is a gift. You are already moving in the right direction. You simply coast along the groove to a world further down the line. Cheap. Easy. It is why we have visited all of them. But if you want to go up, if you want to climb straight up and out of the solar system, you cannot just point a rocket at the ceiling. First, you have to hit the brakes. You have to fire your engines against the rotation of the Earth. You have to burn fuel to cancel out 67,000 miles an hour of lateral momentum. You have to bring your spacecraft to a dead, absolute stop relative to the Sun. Only then can you begin to climb. And the universe simply will not let us afford it. Killing that much motion costs a staggering, impossible amount of energy. To build a rocket capable of stopping itself in space, the fuel tanks would have to be larger than the skyscrapers of a city. From where the Earth sits, it requires more energy to stop moving and rise straight up than it does to leave the solar system entirely. It is cheaper to become a permanent exile in the interstellar dark than it is to simply stand still. Up is not blocked by a wall. We are simply moving too fast in the wrong direction to ever go up. But the vertical is not empty. We are trapped on the plate, but far beyond the orbit of Neptune, at the absolute fringes of the Sun's gravity, there is a shell. We call it the Oort Cloud. It is not a flat disk. It is a massive spherical graveyard of ice and rock, completely surrounding the solar system. The objects out there are not bound by the sideways trap. They live in the true dark, above us, below us. For millions of years, they drift in the freezing void until something nudges them, a passing star, a ripple in the galactic tide, and they fall. They do not slide along the table. They drop straight down, slicing vertically through our flat plane at over 100,000 miles an hour. A comet. In the spring of 1997, one of these ghosts broke the dark. We called it Hale-Bopp. It was a monster, a frozen core nearly 40 miles wide, 5 times the size of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. It dragged a glowing tail of dust and gas, tens of millions of miles long. But the size was not the worst of it. It was the angle. Hale-Bopp did not coast in from the edge of the solar system. It dropped almost perfectly perpendicular to the planetary plane. It came straight down from the ceiling. For 18 months, it was visible to the naked eye. The entire human race looked up and watched a massive glowing scythe slice vertically through the flat groove of our world. It crossed the table in a matter of months. It plunged past the sun, slipped below the plane of the planets, and disappeared out the bottom of the room. It will not return for another 2,500 years. Hale-Bopp was a warning. They are the only visitors we ever get from the vertical. We are locked in the basement, and there is an entire house, a above us. There are places in our own solar system we have never seen. We have mapped the surface of Pluto. We have photographed the swirling storms of Jupiter. We have looked 13 billion years into the past to watch the first galaxies ignite in the void. But directly above our own sun, directly below it, out of the flat plane of the planets, there are massive uncharted blind spots. Whole hemispheres of our own solar system that we have almost never visited, simply because we cannot afford the fuel to look at them. It is a locked room right in the center of our reality. So how did we finally see it? How did we go up the single time we managed it? In 1990, we launched a probe called Ulysses. Its mission was not to visit a planet. Its mission was to fly up over the poles of the sun, to leave the flat plane at last and look down on our star from the top. But we didn't have a rocket strong enough to hit the brakes, to cancel our own speed. So the engineers committed an act of desperation. They launched the probe in the exact wrong direction. They fired it outward, sliding 500 million miles sideways across the table, away from the sun, toward Jupiter. The plan? Use the giant as an anchor. When Ulysses reached Jupiter, it flew dangerously close to the planet. It let Jupiter's massive gravity seize the spacecraft. The gas giant violently ripped the lateral momentum out of the probe, broke the relentless sideways lock, and hurled it upward. It threw Ulysses out of the flat plane, finally giving us a view from the top of the world. We didn't conquer the vertical. We couldn't. To climb even the smallest way off the table, we had to sail 500 million miles into the dark, throw ourselves at the feet of a giant, and beg it to throw us. That is how completely the flat world holds us. And the solar system's flat plane is not the only one we are trapped inside. There is another, much larger one. The Milky Way itself. Hundreds of billions of stars, massive clouds of dust, and twisting nebulas, all flattened into a single spinning plate. And we are trapped deep inside it. When astronomers look out into the deep universe, they are trying to see the distant galaxies, the edge of reality. But looking out from Earth is like standing in the middle of a dense, burning forest and trying to see the horizon. If you look up, out of the galactic plane, the view is clear. You can see into the deep void. But if you try to look sideways, along the plane of the galaxy, the sheer density of our own home blocks the light. The dust and the stars form a physical wall. Astronomers call it the Zone of Avoidance. It is a massive band that completely wraps around our sky. To our optical eyes, it is impenetrable. It blocks nearly 20% of the extragalactic sky from our view. 1/5 of reality, hidden behind the fog of our own galaxy. There are billions of galaxies behind that wall. Superclusters, merging leviathans. We literally do not know what is sitting just on the other side of our own home, invisible light. Because we cannot afford to hit the brakes, because we can never fly up and out of the Milky Way to look down over the wall, that 20% of the sky remains locked in shadow. We are trapped in a room, and our own galaxy has boarded up the windows. Everything in our solar system lives on the flat plane. The planets, the moons, the asteroids. Because of this, all of our telescopes, all of our planetary defense networks, all of our eyes are focused on the horizon. We are staring at the rim of the plate, watching for asteroids that share our groove. But the rest of the universe does not care about our plate. In 2017, the alarms finally rang. An object entered our solar system from deep interstellar space. The first one we had ever seen. We called it ʻOumuamua. It did not come from the side. It did not politely merge onto the flat highway of the planets. It plunged down from the ceiling. It came from a steep angle above the plane, an extreme, impossible trajectory, dropping through the flat sheet of the solar system at nearly 200,000 miles an hour, moving too fast to intercept, moving too fast to even properly photograph. We did not see it coming. And not because the sky was empty, but because it was small, faint, fast, and already outbound by the time we caught it. We did not spot the intruder until it had already dropped past the sun, crossed the orbit of Earth, and was plunging back into the dark. It was a ghost, a shadow that sliced through our reality and left before we could even ask what it was. The vertical is not just empty space. It is a massive, unmonitored drop zone. And we are completely blind to whatever is falling toward us. Oumuamua was just a rock, a splinter of a dead world. But the vertical is hiding much heavier ghosts. There are more rogue planets in our galaxy than there are stars. Worlds that were violently ejected from their own solar systems at the dawn of time. They do not orbit anything. They are not bound to any flat plane. They drift through the deep, three-dimensional void, freezing and completely invisible. Because they have no sun to illuminate them, they emit no light. Billions of massive, dark worlds wandering the unmonitored space between the stars. When we scan the flat horizon of our solar system, we are looking for things that reflect the sun. But the vertical above our heads is filled with silent objects that swallow the dark. Jupiter-mass leviathans drifting through the pitch black. If one of them were falling toward us right now, dropping straight down from the ceiling, you would not see a flash of light. You would only know it was there when the stars above us suddenly began to disappear. A whole dimension of space has been above you your entire life, and our species has almost never used it. We are creatures living on the surface of a river, paddling expertly across it, but unable to escape the violent current carrying us downstream. The true up, straight out of the great flat table that holds the sun and all its worlds, is somewhere out there in the dark. infinite, unvisited dark. You just cannot afford the brakes. You are locked in a perpetual lateral sprint that fights you every single inch of the way. The greatest illusion of the night sky isn't how far away the stars are. It's the feeling that you are floating free beneath them. You aren't. You are pinned to the wheel. You always will be. And the one direction you will never truly know is up.